Hi, Carolyn Reese from Akron, Ohio. Don't that dial, it's Magic Happening. And today, my husband, Bob the Whiz Reese, is going to show you some pretty big stuff. Ooh, it's the director. It's time to start. Lights, camera, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
California, it's The Magic Happening. Starring international comedy magician Bob Markwood. Today, Bob's guests from Akron, Ohio, it's the Whiz himself, Bob Reese. From his recent appearance at Hollywood Cinegrill, it's George Millward. And soon-to-be-discovered assistant to magician, Carolyn Reese. And me, I'm your announcer, Tony Daniels. And now, here's Bob.
All right, well, welcome to The Magic Happening, and we got a magic show for you today. Tony, come on in. No time to waste.
Hey,
how we doing, partner?
Good. How we doing?
Good, buddy. Shake that hand.
There we go.
You know, we've got Bob the Whiz Reese all the way from Akron, Ohio. We got George Millward all the way from the Hollywood Cineplex Grill. And we have Bob's favorite assistant, Carolyn Reese.
It's great to see Bob and Carolyn again, isn't it?
Carolyn has a favor, but before, I don't know what it is, but before we find out, I thought I'd do a little magic trick here. Now, I have a plume, and the plume is white. I can change this plume to any color that you would like. What color would you like?
Ooh, well, blue's my favorite color.
Blue, it's done. Abracadabra, hocus pocus, and blue. It's done.
Cool. It didn't work, Bob.
All right, how about try a different color, Tony?
Red.
Abracadabra, poof, red.
This isn't working.
You know what? Oh, I forgot the magic words. I got the magic words. The magic happening. 1, 2, 3, and you see, Tony, there is all the difference in the world.
Whoa, all three. Hey, that's great.
Is that awesome?
That's great.
Well, you know what? Speaking of great, we have somebody here today, and she's our pal from Akron, Ohio. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Bob.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you very much.
I bet you're glad to be out of the Cleveland area where there's lots of snow and cold weather.
I sure am. It's cold up there, yes,
well,
sir.
We're thrilled you're here today, and it was so kind of you to want to be our floor director. We're not exactly sure why you chose to be the floor director today, but one of my staff people said that you had a favor to ask of us.
Yes, I do, Bob. I'm so thankful you have Bob on the show with you today.
Right, we're happy. Your husband, Bob.
But,
okay.
Bob, could you perhaps arrange for me to get a speaking part?
A speaking part on the show?
Yes.
In Bob's act?
Yes.
You don't have one right now?
I don't, Bob.
That's not fair.
That's not fair at all. I mean, he's a big star.
I know.
And he's not letting her say anything? Well, it's done. Carolyn, for you, babe, it's done.
Thank
we can
you.
handle this.
We can do this.
We'll write it
Get the
straight.
writers.
Get the writers. We'll do this. You know what? I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Get the writers, take care of that. But you know what? We're kind of excited because right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the artistry of George Millward, all the way from the Cineplex Grill. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Put your hands together for the talents of George Millward. All right.
Oh.
Whoa! All right, whoa, whoa. George, that was fabulous. Wow, I am telling you, I am one person that's glad this act is for the birds. Whoa, was that great? George, that was fabulous. We'll be right back to chat with George. Stay tuned. Wow, that was great, man.
Hi, wasn't George terrific? Wow, what beautiful birds he had. But he'll be back in a few moments to chat with Bob. But don't forget, my husband, Bob the Wizard Reese, will be up soon. And I'm going to get a speaking part. So look for something big. Well, it looks like they're coming back from break now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're right, Carolyn. George was absolutely fantastic. George, how long have you been doing magic?
Most of my life.
Most of your life. Do you remember what the first trick was when you got started?
It's a very strange story. I actually met a young guy by the name of Eddie Fernandez, who is now a magician in Toronto, Canada, and doing an illusion act, and he showed me something at a boys club in Chicago. I liked it, so I went to a magic shop with him, J. Marshall's Famous Magic Incorporated.
Right. Now, how old were you at this time?
I was 12 or 13.
So you've been doing magic for a couple of years.
Oh, a few.
I heard you just did the Sunday brunch at the Magic Castle, or that's
true.
coming up soon?
No, I did it already.
You did it? Oh, fabulous. Well, and you're at the Cineplex Grill often?
No, next time I'll be there is in March. It's a Cinegrill in the Hollywood Roosevelt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right across, right a block over from the Magic Castle.
Right, right.
George, would you come back and be on our show again?
Absolutely, sure.
All right. Everybody, George Millward. Thank you, George.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having
We'll
me.
be right back after this message with the Wiz himself, Bob Reese.
Carolyn, the writers have been working since the beginning of the show. We have your script for you.
Oh, Tony, thank you
You're so
so much.
welcome.
Oh, Broadway. There's no time for bathroom check now, is there? No.
No,
No.
you're on in a few
Okay,
minutes, okay? Start
okay.
memorizing.
We're back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
You know, I think Carolyn's kind of excited about her role.
I do too.
This time,
She's
is
got
she
her
nervous?
lines.
Is she nervous?
A little, I think, but I think she's going to do fine.
Are we all ready?
Yep,
You know,
we're ready.
I am so excited because we have an incredible big magician today. This is one of the biggest magicians in the world. He's fabulous. From Akron, Ohio. Are you ready, pal?
Yep, I am.
Without further ado, the Magic Happening is proud to present, all the way from Akron, Ohio, #1 magician, the Wiz, Bob Reese. Wow.
I know. Isn't it good to know Richard Simmons isn't always right? There's a great thing about being a big guy. It means you've got a big heart. My heart's full of magic, and I'd love to share it with you folks today. The magic starts right about now.
Like a river Jordan, and I will then say to thee, you are my friend. Carry me like you were my brother, love you like a mother. Will you be there? Very scold me. We're lost where you find me. But they told me a man should be faithful. And fight till the end, but I'm only human.
All right.
Oh.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you very much. More. I'll tell you, there's one thing that you have to do if you're from Akron, Ohio. We're a high union town, as you probably know. There's one union requirement. I belong to a magician's union, and this is the time of the show when I'm required to do one boring card trick. Yeah, I understand. This trick uses the ace, the deuce, the 3, and the ever-popular 4 of spades. Now, a lot of magicians do poker tricks or blackjack tricks. I'm one of the few magicians with the guts, I know, to do a canasta trick. And a lot of you guys out there that are watching the show probably are telling your wives and sweethearts about playing canasta on Friday nights. You'll know that the deuce is the best card to use for a wild card. If you place the deuce on the front, give a shake like this, a couple of things happen. One, you want a martini real bad. The second thing is you notice that one of the cards, in this case the ace, appears to have turned itself face down. You also notice I'm using bicycle rider back playing cards. I know that for a couple of reasons. One, it says on the box. But 2, you see the little angel riding a unicycle? Think he's good. Look, the one that can ride upside down. Last group I did this for was stunned into silence, just like that. If you give him a shake, the ace immediately comes back, but now the 2 turns itself face down. Oh, gee, a sigh of apathy. If you give a shake just like this, the 2 will come back and the 3 turns itself face down. All right. To maintain the carnival-like atmosphere that we've got going here, let's put them back together, give a shake, and now you notice the 3's back and the 4 turns itself face down. Oh, wow. That's okay. That's okay. Really, what do you mean I'm not using 4 cards? No, you're absolutely right. You see, this trick is all done with mirrors. And if I couldn't use mirrors, I don't even know how I could get away with a trick like this. But thank you.
Unbelievable.
And now, I would like to do a trick for you that was invented over 5,000 years ago. This is reported to be the oldest illusion in magic. They used rings of solid gold, exactly the same kind of rings as I'm going to use right now. The metallurgists out there will notice that these are chrome-plated so that they won't rust. These are also replicas of the actual rings that my wife and I used during our wedding ceremony. We had a 3-ring ceremony. The first ring being the engagement ring, symbol of love, symbol of a new beginning, the engagement ring. Then a little later came the wedding ring, symbol of a life together, a wholeness, a unity, as it were, the wedding ring.
And then came the suffering.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, the beauty of the Chinese linking rings. There are 2 methods to make these appear linked. The first method is called method number 1, or the finger method. With the finger method, you take your finger, place it down in here, and the rings appear to link. Now you notice from this angle it's not that good, but from this angle it's practically perfect. The first Chinese court magician that performed this, unfortunately, lost his head. The second magician had to come up with method number 2, or the thumb method. The thumb method is where you place your thumb in between the rings. The thumb method happens to be my personal favorite. The linking rings. If you watch very closely, the rings appear just to kind of sort of fall right on the floor. Oh, that was my floor show. My act is now picking up. The reason they didn't link is I forgot to tell you that there's an outside, an inside, a right side, and a wrong side. To get them to link, you place the right side and the wrong side together, reach from the outside to the inside, they appear to link, forming a golden chain, or lei chi. Lei chi means joined in a golden chain. Thin kai. Thin kai means like rings of smoke, they separate. The reason these work so well is these rings are made from mad steel. Mad steel is just steel that's lost its temper. Also, you can rub them just like this, and they'll appear to link. A lot of people think that the rings look like they link here. They look like they link here. Many times people think they link up here, down here, over here, through here, up here, and down here simultaneously. at the same time. Lei Chi, joined in a golden chain. Thin Kai. Thin Kai means like rings of smoke they separate. Always remember that Lei Chi and Thin Kai, of course, are of the Mandarin dialect. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Robert, that was fantastic.
Thank you, Bob.
You know, I'm so excited that your magic is big because it comes from the hearts.
It does, Bob.
And after this important message, a little break, we're going to visit with Bob Reese and some close-up magic. And Tony, you're going to join us.
Sounds
we'll be
great.
right back. Great, man.
Thank you.
And then came the suffering, and then came the suffering, and then came the suffering, and then came the suffering. Oh, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boy, I don't know. I think Carolyn really is kind of like...
She's getting into it.
She's getting into it. Yeah, she's getting her line right. Well, we're into this right now because we're visiting with Bob Reese up close and personal. Bob,
Hi,
welcome
Bob.
to our show.
I think I was set up a little bit there,
Well,
Bob.
I don't know if you were or not.
did a great
exactly.
job.
Come on, show us something else. What do you
Okay,
got?
great. I'll tell you, you play cards. I know
Sure.
that both you play cards. Has anybody ever gotten out a card where you've played and there's been a deck anything like these?
No, not exactly.
Well, if you find that, pick up your money and leave.
Right.
Or
Oh,
get
okay.
dressed and leave. I'm just going to use 2 cards. I use my old cards to do this. It'll become painfully apparent in just a second why. I have a red card and a blue card. That doesn't really have a lot to do with it because we're going to look at the faces. We have a spot card, and, well, this really isn't called a face card. A lot of people will call this a face card. It's more properly called a court card, the queen. But red on the back, red on the, well, I guess they're a little bit different. Let's use ladies first here. I'm going to mark her in a very special way.
Cool.
I'm going to fold her with her face in, which leaves her back out. And I'm going to fold her across the short way so she's relatively long and slender, much like myself. I'm going to take the ace then, fold it the opposite direction with its face out, which leaves its back in, and I'm going to fold it across the long way so it's relatively short and fat. Now, very little, if any, magic has happened at this point. Ray Charles could probably see that. The magic doesn't start here until the ace slides down inside of the queen just like this. Now, a couple of sharp magicians like you guys are not fooled by this. We in the trade have to do something that we call misdirection. So to misdirect you, I'm going to turn everything inside out. So now we have the queen on the inside with her face sticking out and the ace on the outside with its back sticking
Right.
out. That's not the good part, believe it or not. The good part is when I tap 1, 2 times on the queen and start to push. You notice how she's going into the card here? You see how she's coming
Yeah.
out the bottom?
Yeah.
The neat part is she comes out back out.
Look at that.
Wow. Yeah. Not only does it look like it there, but it also looks like it here. And if you look inside, you can see that's exactly what she's done. You can do this too. If you tap 2 times right where the queen should be, very good, and start to push, she'll come with her face out.
look at
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
That's
Isn't that unbelievable?
unbelievable. Whoa.
Okay, great. Does it there, does it there, does it here. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Bob, well, I'm Bob too.
Okay.
That's with 1 O. Okay. What happens if you just tap that once? If you do that, it kind of gets stuck halfway in between so that the part here by the forefinger looks face out and the part by the back looks back out. Isn't that good? That's cool. People then have said to me, well, surely you can show me the whole card. I say, well, I can, but don't call me Shirley. It's kind of a male ego thing. This card is not real confusing with that big crease on there. You'd probably use that to play Old Maid. But on the other hand, good segue, huh? Okay. But on the other hand, that might be slightly more confusing. Would you do me a favor, Tony? Sure. Would you reach around here and kind of grab on this side with this hand in a vice-like grip of death, and with your other hand, kind of grab there? Does that feel confusing? Say no.
No.
Does that look confusing?
Yes.
Does? You can keep it confusing. Hang on. Don't let go, because pull hard, and that'll come apart. When that comes apart, that'll stay face out. That'll stay back out. You can have all that and explain it to Bob, but wait till I leave.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Carolyn, come in and join us.
Oh,
Bob,
wow.
I
Was
got
that great, Tony?
everybody
Yes.
Can we get a shot of this? This is really great. This is Bob's mat, Bob the Wiz. You've got the wizard on there. That's cool. And then Carolyn brought us a couple of gifts today. What are these, Carolyn?
Well, these are the Bob and Carolyn action figures.
Bob and Carolyn.
Yes.
This is Bob.
Uh-huh.
This is Bob.
That's
This is
Bob.
Carolyn.
That's Carolyn.
Nothing funny there.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, we have just a couple of minutes left. Have you got something for us?
Yes, I do. We were coming back on our last trip to Las Vegas, and we took an extra day. Went out to the Indian Reservation, right out there at the bottom end of the Grand Canyon. I found out that the shaman out there, the medicine man, was a magician too. But he did it with natural objects.
Okay.
One of the things that I asked him was, I said, if you two would kind of play the parts here, how does the Indian brave choose the maiden? And he told me that it really wasn't the brave, it was the maiden who did the choice. Carolyn, I'm going to put something in your hand. You didn't know about this. I'm going to place something in your hand. It's not going to hurt you. Okay. In fact, it's a stone, but I don't want you to see what it is. Okay. Tony, what we have here, let me show you. We had 3 stones given to us. He kind of got a couple of us magicians aside. He gave us in this Wallamolam bag, which is kind of the medicine bag of the shaman. He gave us 3 stones. One happened to be a quartz crystal. A lot of power in this, a lot of power. He then gave us a calico agate. Again, power in this, very much power in this. And then a lodestone or hematite crystal. A lot of power in that. He did say that one of these stones had the power to tell us whether a maiden and a brave were suited for each other. Would you select 2 stones, Tony? Just select 2 of them?
Those 2.
Very good. And he placed the other one in the Wallamolam bag. He did something different then. He said, would the brave just pick up 1 stone and place it in the Wallamolam bag? What was remaining on the rock or the table that he had, he said, would you pick up that stone and hold it in your hand? Do you feel a magnetism? Yeah. He said, if you're indeed with the maiden that you were with, the magnetism should be there. And forever, the magnet of the lodestone is the power that will guarantee that the couple stays together. And you folks can stay together for about 2 minutes because I'm taking these back and I hope she comes home with me.
Well, I just want to tell everybody that we've really enjoyed having Bob and Carolyn Reese all the way from Akron, Ohio, and that great George Millward. He was fantastic, wasn't he, with the birds? And will you guys come back and visit us?
Oh, we certainly will.
Tony, as always, thanks so much for making it. And you know what? Thanks to you folks, too, for making the magic happen by joining us every week. See you soon. Bye-bye.
I think...